Hello, my fellow patriots. This is Alex with Disabled Vets Perspective, and I'm back again. I took a little bit of a hiatus. It's just been so much bullshit that I've had to just get away from it. But I wanted to get on here because I've got a update on Lisa and how she's doing with her cancer and all of that garbage. We just had a PET scan 2 weeks ago, and got the results. And got some time to sit down with the doc and have a little go over on it. And at this moment, again, second PET scan in a row, it's called stable. Now I've said in other videos, when cancer shows up, it shows up as a bright spot, bright red color in the PET scan. Like a heat flash, and the primary tumor has got obviously still got color to it. It's pretty bright. It's still there. The secondary lymph nodes that were starting to flare up have apparently gone back to neutral, so they have lost their flare, and so that means still cancer, but still stable, which is a good report, because the reality is most of the time when somebody goes metastatic, which means when the cancer jumps into the lymph system or lymph nodes, the prognosis is poor. Usually you get about a year. And since her diagnosis last March of the metastatic disease, the treatment that she's been getting, the Latruda or whatever they call it, is a immunotherapy treatment that supposedly keeps everything in check. The only problem is that it can make everything else sick. Hey. You like getting somebody on camera that doesn't like being on camera? Look at that. Watch that. Watch.
I don't care. Who are you talking to?
Oh, just talking to the world. It's just a couple of people here and there. Pick up some Tamiflu if you.
Theraflu?
Tamiflu.
What the hell's that?
Just look for the name Tamiflu.
Where do I get it?
Anywhere it should be.
Okay, for you and Miss Lisa?
No, for your dad.
Oh, he told me to get Theraflu.
Tamiflu's better.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try it. I'll try it. Thank you.
You're welcome. See, my videos are completely natural. I stop, have conversations, do all that basic stuff. Why not?
That's whatever works.
Yep. But anyway, so what we were saying is that the treatment that she's getting, the immunotherapy, is working to keep the metastatic disease I wouldn't call it in a cured state, but in a stable state. So that's the best we can hope for, because unfortunately in this day and age, there is no goal of healing somebody. It's only to treat somebody, because they make incredible amounts of money on cancer patients from the insurance companies that are, government mandated racketeering programs. But I've been over that before. But anyway, they make so much money in the treatment that it would be completely ridiculous for them to even think about a cure, because they would be cutting their own financial throat, so to speak. So while she is being treated with Latruda, she is stable. The only problem is it makes her sick as a dog. So she's just constantly sick, feeling ill, nauseated and coughing and hacking up a lung with the phlegm. And I mean, the side effects for Latruda are enormous. I mean, it's give you one poison to kill something, but in turn it ends up killing everything else, or just making the whole body one big wreck. But, you know, the goal with the cabal is to take everybody out before they hit 63 or 65 years old, so they don't have to pay them for their Social Security. Pretty good racket, if you ask me. You know, get them out of here. And then they can spend that Social Security that they require you to pay every month. They can spend it on themselves. And if you don't think that's happening, you got to double check. But anyway, so the update on her is she is stable. We were able to, through your incredible generosity and love and donations, we were able to make the deductible again this year. So it'll be another year of treatment without anything getting in the way of that. Anybody who wants to help out for next year, I have a very secure and separate account that I keep that in. It's basically, it was attempted to be hacked a couple of months ago, and they actually got the money moving from that account into another account, but I managed to catch it, and now the account that I keep her deductible money in, her treatment money, is very secure. It cannot be accessed by phone calls. It can't be accessed by computer, or if it is, it gets flagged immediately. But the point is, I've got it set up so the bank doesn't do anything with it unless I'm standing in front of them with an ID card and a security phrase. So I made sure that shit wasn't going to happen again. But anyway, she's top priority, so security of her care money is my top priority. So anyway, that's the good news, or the news, about Lisa. She's stable, but just ill. And anyway, I wanted to take a minute and talk just for a minute about the trucker convoy that is going on in Canada. Now, some of you may not know, my father was a immigrant from Canada, and back several years ago, they decided to make it, if your parent was born in Canada, then you are basically Canadian. All I have to do is go sign some paper, and I would get my Canadian citizenship. Not doing it, but I had the option. So I am basically Canadian. So I have a little bit of a dog in their fight, but also I'm a former truck driver. And, you know, I've done the old pounding of the ground. In 1992, we had a strike that lasted 30 hours. And at that time, it was because of all the restrictions they were going to put on the drivers for over the road. And even though in 92 they just said, oh, okay, we're not going to do it, they've still done it. They just did it in a lot smaller increments so that they didn't notice. So all of the restrictions that they were going to put on the drivers back in 1992 are definitely in effect now. So that's how they do shit. They'll say, okay, we'll back down. We're sorry. And then they'll do it with a slower progression so that you don't notice it quite so much. And eventually they get the same thing. They're basically exactly where they wanted to be in 1992. They just had to do it a little bit more slowly. So what's going to happen, in my opinion, with the truckers up in Canada, first of all, I would say that the Vice Prime Minister, or whatever her name is, and she's a doozy. She's saying she's going to suspend their insurance and seize their corporate accounts. So I think that if I was a driver there, I think I would go to the bank and I would close my own account until this is over. And don't let her seize your money. Now, as far as the insurance, like I said, government mandated racketeering programs. Those are what insurance companies are. So of course they can suspend your insurance. They all work in the same offices. So all I can tell you is try to protect your money, try to protect your assets, but definitely stand your ground. But if this thing continues, The only thing that that country is going to hear loud and clear is what we did here in 1992. Because we shut down for 30 hours. And it was said at the time that this country, with its just-in-time delivery system, will completely collapse if the truckers stopped running for 36 hours. So, basically, a day and a half. That's how close we are on our just-in-time delivery system. So what needs to happen is, if Trudeau keeps wanting to go tyrannical, then instead of, you know, a few trucks hanging out in the Capitol, maybe it would be time for every truck to hit the shoulder, pull into the rest areas, grab a truck stop, and just shut them down. Now, that's what we did. And it worked at that time. But like I said, now everything they wanted to do then is now in effect. So they just did it. But at least with Canada, if they tried the same thing, you have some time to regroup and figure out how you're going to approach it if they try to squash you down again. But the government doesn't fear the people, and that's really a problem. They think that if they can manhandle you enough and they can get their left-leaning cronies to push you around a little bit, that you'll submit. And that's wrong. The government should always be submitting to the people. That's how it's supposed to be. A government that fears its people is that's liberty. A people that fear their government is tyranny. So what we are seeing in Canada is tyranny. And Justin Trudeau, the little whining bitch that he is, just thinks that he has an incredible amount of power and that everybody should be afraid. Well, piss on him. Nobody should be afraid of another mortal man, period. So, you guys can take that for what it's worth. But my Canadian brothers and sisters up there, I would hope that you always stay in the fight, because you show 1 ounce of submission, then they're going to jump on you with both feet. So once you have started a fight, you can't just go, oh, okay, I was just kidding. Nope, doesn't work like that. You're going to be in that fight until somebody loses. So right now, the truckers need to be the ones to be victorious in it. And Trudeau needs to be put in check. Then he needs to resign. He's got some connections to some pretty illegal activity with the Clintons, so, you know, we won't get into that here right now. But anyway, I wanted to get out here and put my little piece in here. I know it's been a long time since I've been on here. Really, the life itself has just been overwhelming. I mean, you get news that your soulmate is basically on the checkout list, and you know, you have to process that, and you find that you want to spend every waking minute with her or him until that time happens. And you know, anything that gets in the way of spending quality time together is not acceptable. So I jumped back. I've been doing my thing. I don't like to leave her long because she is doing an awful lot of choking, and if she aspirates some of the phlegm that she's choking up, she could choke. And I've got to be there in case I need to do a clearing of the airway or something to that effect. But anyway, I'm glad to see everybody again. I'm glad you guys are still hanging out with me. I know YouTube drops my subscribers like a bad habit as often as they can. Whatever, YouTube's a joke, but I'm still here until they decide they're done looking at this beautiful face. But anyway, that's what I got for y'all. If you like what I have to say, make sure you hit the like button. Tell your friends about me. Subscribe to the channel if you want to. You'll probably be unsubscribed in a week or two anyway, so it won't bother you. But anyway, until next time, y'all, stay in the fight.